kick back as this track plays. Yesterday seemed miles away, couldn't stay. Had to gather my things, catch the train of thought, spark the vision. Better living, given the chance, enhance this dream, make it seem true indeed. Leave a waste of space so I can chase venues, talk to you through tunes, room back, see the sack rap.
What up, Internet Land? This is your man Furious, Deeper Than Music Radio. Behind every great song, there's an even greater story. I like to say what's up to everybody on Internet Land, worldwide Internet, listening to us here today on this Friday. And today we have a very special treat, an artist that came to me and introduced me to his music. The music is so laid back, sonically it's something different that I've never heard before, but it definitely has a catchy sound. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Jah Frida here on Deeper Than Music Radio. What's going on?
Hey man, how's it going?
Going pretty good. So how's everything on your end of the world?
It's good, man. It's getting cold, I'm approaching, but been working on some music and some new videos to come,
Oh, okay, cool. And what part of the world are you?
I'm currently in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I think that's what kind of threw me through a loop. Nashville is synonymous with country music, and you got a vibe that's so laid back and different. So I guess that brings me my first question to people listening and may not be familiar with your music. How would you describe your sound and what you're bringing to music?
I would describe it as primarily like soul with hip hop elements and a little psychedelic, sometimes reggae vibe.
Yeah. And how's the music scene in Nashville besides country?
Man, it's so different. You got your different sectors providing different kinds of vibes. You have obviously country, blues, and then you have like East Nashville, which is more on the underground indie rock. And then where I'm at, North Nashville, there tends to be more hip hop going down. So, and that's where I stay. So, it's still growing though. The city's changing at a constant rate, so it's cool just to see all the new types of sounds coming in.
Okay. And when did you know that you wanted to do music? Was it early on in life, or when you were younger, or when was that moment that you knew you wanted to be an artist and do music?
Man, I started off as a musician when I was like, I want to say like 9. I'm 22 now, and so I've consistently just pursued it, and it's been the one thing that I've always just wanted to do, I guess. And it wasn't until probably middle of high school that I really hunkered down and decided that the music I was making was more of an expression rather than just playing music. It was more of an outlet for myself, and so that's when I really decided around then.
Oh, okay. And who are your influences?
Man, currently, I've been really into Anderson .Paak, some JID, Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
But growing up, my mom and dad played a lot of like 50s to 70s music, so that was like really it. They're a little more old school with their taste, so I just would always hear whatever it may be, Aretha Franklin, Beatles, all across the board. And I really wasn't introduced to hip hop until like when I was in like 5th or 6th grade, because I was moving around a lot, and a lot of the people that heard where I heard music it was always different. And my older brother was my main influence around the house, because he'd be just playing whatever down the hallway, and I'd just be like hearing that, like, oh, what's this? Not really know what it is at all.
Okay, and so like, what was the first hip hop that you heard? Just out of curiosity. I mean, like you said, your brother introduced you to hip hop. What was he listening to?
Well, he was listening to everything. My sister honestly was more into hip hop than my brother, but I honestly couldn't distinctly say what it was, because there's just a bunch of like a playlist kind of thing, or she'd put in a CD. I wouldn't know the name or whatever, and she'd just back to back playing them. And it wasn't until, like I said, like probably like the earliest stuff was like Lil Wayne or like early Kanye,
Kanye, not Kanye Kardashian, but Kanye West. No, I'm just
yeah. Especially Kanye Kardashian. He's
yeah. This is Kanye now. Is like Okay. I see what you said. Yeah. All right. Well, I got queued up back in the days. Do you want to give us a little story behind that song and what the inspiration was behind that song?
Yeah, absolutely. So I produced the track. It's featuring another co-artist I'm part of the label with, 11. He's also out here in Nashville. But yeah, the song, I had just finished recording up a project with another person on the label called My Prophets. And I wanted something that could breathe and something that had space to it. And it just felt right. It felt good. And I loved the tone of 11's voice. And we work on a lot of music together. And I was like, man, you got to get on this. Let's diversify this track up. So,
okay. All right, here we go. So, Back in the Days featuring, you said 11, right?
Yep, 11.
Okay, here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
You just wanna leave my side, yes. But I don't wanna waste my time, yeah. Flying through these days like a pilot. Mood like the weather, no climate. Don't you understand I'm fighting? I'm trying for us. Back on my way. You know that it was just back in the days when I was looking outside. None of this shit on my mind. We was driving the black Beetlejuice. Every time we would get with the crew, we would always try to fight. Riding on the beat, no time. Every time I go, I know that. Every time I seen the shows, and you would never show up nowhere. I could never find a way, but I would try. Just to see your side. You just wanna leave my side, yes. But I don't wanna waste my time, yeah. Flying through these days like a pilot. Mood like the weather, no climate. Don't you understand I'm fighting? I'm trying for us. Baby girl, fuck all of these functions. You don't even really have to pull up to my shoulders. Know the way you wanna see me, that the answers never know. I would like to snuggle up with you, a rockstar lifestyle might not make it, but I bet you that we painting in the penthouse naked. Patios and sunshine, soaking up the sun rays. She the one I call to get mimosas on a Sunday. Spending time with you is the only thing I really wanna do. Hit the lights and spark a blunt, then start the Netflix in this room.
Back in the day, Jah Frida, here on Deeper Than Music Radio. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Jah Frida, yeah.
Okay. I like the musicality that you bring. So you produce the track, the instrumentation.
Everything.
I like that. Yeah, you got like a different vibe. You bring the musicality to it. That's one thing I like, and it's so like laid back and melodic.
Thank you.
Very, very nice. I guess I could say I'm an older head. So the music out now, or the musicality is kind of dying, and I also produce and engineer, and it's just like, everything sounds the same. I appreciate that the music is soulful. It's kind of got like it's got like a really soulful vibe to it. Are you familiar with? I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Outkast, and the Dungeon Family, Rico Wade, and all them.
I don't know about Dungeon Family, but
I mean,
definitely.
But the production team behind like Outkast, they also did Waterfalls.
Oh, okay.
Not the Dungeon Family. I'm sorry. It's Organized Noise. Rico Wade and Organized Noise.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. The production team behind that, they did a lot of the stuff. They did a lot of the instrumentation. So a lot of Outkast's music was Organized Noise. So no, it's good. Some good stuff. So can you give us? You mentioned the label that you're under. Could you tell us a little bit more, like the label you're on, your catalog, what you've come out with, current projects you're working on now?
Yeah. So I'm a part of It's Like That Records. I actually co-founded it with 3 other people, Carmine Prophets, 11, and Andre on Purpose. All of us, we actually have known each other since 11 and Andre have known each other since like 3rd grade, and like I've known them since like 6th grade. We're all from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay.
And then,
okay.
Yeah, and we all have like, you know, similar tastes in music, but also we're all have completely different backgrounds. So it's cool because we're constantly learning from each other. But we all transplanted out here to Nashville, and I was in a band with my brother called The Bums, and we were like a 60s, 70s rock thing, and it was really fun. And I had basically dropped out of college to come out here and like pursue what I really wanted to do. And we ended up, you know, just splitting up for some reasons. And then at that point, I was with them and we were just like, let's start this label because we see where music's at these days and how you can kind of do everything on your own for the most part. And we were already producing our own stuff and like creating our own merch, designs, and like videos and whatnot. And so we were like, let's just do it. Let's just get it together. So we started It's Like That Records, and the first track we put out under our collective when we're together is called It's Like That. And the track is called Unemployed. So that was the very first test trial thing we put out. And Carmine Prophets and I produced it. And then we got Levin, Carmine, and I on it vocally. And then right after that, I dropped my very first EP that I produced all by myself with some help from musician friends and mixers called All Jokes Aside. I released that February 13th of this year. But other than that, I've just had one track on SoundCloud from my previous pseudonym, Eli Friday, called For Someone Else. And that actually got like a ton of attraction, but I felt my sound had evolved since then. So kind of shed that skin. And so right now I had just finished producing and vocally recording a project with Carmine Prophets. He executively produced it. I didn't do any production. I just did strictly vocals and songwriting. And that's actually what I'm really gearing up for come January, February. And I'm really, really excited about this stuff. This is a bigger sound. He's a great boom bap trap. He does it all. He's incredible.
Okay. So you're bringing some boom bap and some trap. And actually, man, I'm based out of I'm in the DFW area. I'm actually based in Fort Worth. So yeah, it's cool to hear that you're from the Dallas area and you went up to Nashville. So let me ask you. I'm all about. Hats off to you for doing your own movement. It's a beautiful thing. Like now with technology, you said it perfectly. Like you can do everything on your own. Like the resources are there, and I'm a firm believer in creating your own movement. I mean that way you have control. You know your sound and the outlets are there. What is your biggest challenge? What has your biggest challenge been with your music career and the movement that you guys started?
There's been a few, you know, as you start a company or anything, you kind of got to figure out where you're going to fall. And we've had our shortcomings already, you know, getting a team together, putting something out and seeing how it will do and realizing that you have to be effective with how you put things out and methodical. And, you know, you kind of shooting in the dark these days because there's so many people just, you know, putting music out. And that's the great thing about today is anyone can kind of make music and just put it out free of charge. But the hardest challenge I would say is getting that proper exposure.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you've worked so hard on the stuff that you want the ears on it, but it doesn't necessarily happen. But over the course of the year, we finally think we've gotten closer and closer to realizing our niche in the market and kind of how we can approach that. But yeah, we've definitely come a long way as a label, and I'm really excited in the next year, what's to come. But it's always learning every day, honestly. Every day, just something new.
Yeah, no, and then like you said, being independent too, you don't have, I guess one of the downfalls, well, with this now, one of the downfalls with technology is everybody can make music. There's a sea full of music, a lot of information. It's like the information age. Like, you got to differentiate yourself, or, you know, how do you get people to notice you? And you're indie, you have an indie budget. Like, you don't have a Sony or, so yeah, it's like, as a musician, you want to create, but it's the method to the madness of getting that out there is the biggest challenge. But like I said, man, musically, I like what I'm hearing. It's different. It's organic. So now I want to get into your next song, Keep On Fighting. Can you give us the story behind this song?
What's it called? I'm sorry.
Keep On Fighting. Is that? I'm sorry. These Games.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know about.
Yeah,
yeah. These Games. No, you're good. You're good. These Games was actually the first track I made as soon as Andre on Purpose and 11 moved out to Nashville. We basically moved into a new house, and that was the very first track I made in the studio at our house. And yeah, I was in a very weird place at the time, going through a lot of changes, and it was just kind of set the mood for where I was at. And I was also trying to switch up because I just put out All Jokes Aside, which is a lot going on in all the tracks. So I was trying to simplify and let it breathe, and like just let space do a lot more than feeling it. And so yeah, that was kind of my intent with this one.
Okay. So here we go. These Games here on Deeper Than Music Radio with Jah Frida.
I truly love that golden smile you had me there. You see, 'cause it's been a while since I've fallen. Summer is flying by, so I'll slow down. These women trying to take my heart and be senseless. It seems that it's my own fault for trusting the shallow type. Every little move I make just backfires. I've started to abandon those names by desire. I'ma stop it. I'm emptying my head of everything, 'cause I'm tired of these games. Tired of these games. Who you think you play? Tired of these games. What you think you're pulling on me? Tired of these games. Tired of these games. Who you think you're playing? Tired of these games. What you think you're pulling on me? Tired of these games. I love the way you move your hips. They ride me well. And bites on those kissable lips got you well. Let me bend you back over again. That's our style. I can't continue giving into it. It'll drive me wild. So I'ma take a break. I truly love that golden smile you had me there. You see, 'cause it's been a while since I've fallen.
This is Marquivas Furious Nias, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music Radio. Jah Frida, These Games, here on Deeper Than Music Radio. So, in your career, what has been so far your most, your proudest moment?
Man, in my career as Jah Frida so far, I went down to Atlanta for this assembly with S1. He's one of the producers, or helped produced a lot of Kanye and some other crazy artists. Like he produced Power and whatnot. And I went down with 11 to his S1 assembly. And it was one of these things where the whole day he gives some, like it's an open discussion thing where he just basically talks about his experience in the industry and kind of like how his, tribulations and whatnot. And then, you play your music and he gives critiques, or like he says what he loves and what to work on. And then I walked down there and like played some of my tracks, and he was like feeling it. And like after I played my few songs, he's like, "I'm gonna download that." And I was like, damn, like it was just, it's cool to know that like people you look up to and have been influenced by your whole life are like loving what you're doing. And it's just that, not that you always need affirmation, but it's definitely something that gets you even more excited to get out there and just keep making stuff, Yeah, and that was pretty recent.
And that's like, especially when it's your peers, man, or somebody that's there. That's cool, man. And like you said, he gave critiques, and he's like, if he's downloading it, he's really feeling it.
Yeah.
So what would be your dream collaboration, like production wise, and then from an artist standpoint?
Production wise, it's hard to say. I would like to be like working in the studio. Man, I couldn't say.
So you more like a because you do your own movement. So I guess it would be hard to. Oh, what you're trying to say is that production wise is yourself, or it's hard to work with a. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I would want to be in the room with like Pharrell maybe, or like even Kanye, just like great minds, and I want to be able
to like collaborate
and provide for the whole process. But like as far as song, because I like the whole nine of it. I like the like what the emotion is you're capturing, and like what you're saying, and like how it makes you feel. But like vocally, like right now, like I said, probably like Anderson .Paak or JID, or like I just really like what they're doing, and they're very fresh. And like you were saying, the market's very saturated, so it's cool to just hear this style coming in that isn't typical. Not that I necessarily dislike what's going on, but it's just cool to hear something new and like almost like a revamp of what was done a little more back then, but in modern day. Yeah,
because you mentioned two people that created movements. Are like, one thing that I loved about Kanye was, especially when he came out, the sound was, it was fresh. It was he brought like backpack rap, alternative hip hop to the forefront, and his music was like, it was different. And then Pharrell, actually, I was watching Breakfast Drinks with Champs with Noriega, and I don't know if you remember when Pharrell came out. I think one of his first songs was Noriega's what. It was different, but he created his own movement, and I believe like everything has like a life cycle, and I appreciate people that do stuff differently. Like Dr. Dre said it about Andre 3000. Like, he's different. He keeps it interesting. And like me personally, my era. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s rap. The golden era, and then like even now, I love musicality. I think good music could never die. But even when I listen to the radio, like mainstream, everything, the tempo sounds the same, the kicks sound the same. I'm not a fan of the mix, the heavy bassy mix, and I appreciate stuff that's different, like your music, and that's really one thing that's stood out to me. I'm like, dude, this guy's music is laid back, it's organic, it's, you know, you kind of got like a Drake thing going on, Mellodic, and then Nashville. You know what I mean? I'm like, word?
Yeah,
okay,
man.
let me.
Nashville's it's a crazy place to be doing it. It really is. I mean, it's not mainstream, but that's what's funny about this place is like people love hip hop and rap here. Like, it's not that it's not even disliked. It's just there's not really a real force pushing that kind of scene here.
Yeah,
and which is a good and bad thing because it's easier to stand out, but it's also like, man, like you want more of that community, but it's a lot of it's very underground here, and it's a lot of the like there's like almost like little cliques of the hip hop community within this small city. You have like the old heads, you have like the young trap, you have like, you know what I'm saying? It's cool, and like someone who's part of the label we do and like our kind of music, you want to be a part of all of it, you know, but you know, it's hard. Like with my music, I don't necessarily see myself and fitting in too easily, but not that
the thing is, like, Pharrell didn't fit in. Like when Timbaland first came out, he didn't. You know, it's like somebody, or okay, better yet, I can't even think of his name right now. David Banner, he had a saying, and this is a saying that I love, man. He's like, don't chase the light, become the light. And then even for me, from a production standpoint, I can try to emulate trends, but it's like, you know what, I'm gonna do the music or the feeling that I'm feeling, you know, expressing, and you know, you got to have your musical identity, you got to have your production identity, you know, your musical identity and your voice. So what I say, man, is keep doing what you're doing, man, because it stands out, man, and carving your own niche. Like, put it like this, you know, when this rapper's like, okay, when Weezy was hot, everybody did that. When Drake was hot, everybody did, you know, create your own movement, man. That's the best thing, because you'll have your musical identity. Like, okay, I know that's him. I ain't gonna lie, with trap sometimes I get, I mean, because that's fads come and go, you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
So, you know what I mean? But you got your own organic sound. It's like, put it like this. We were talking about Quincy Jones, me and one of my mentors, Gary Devon Dotson. And he's a DJ as well, and he's like, dude, I could play off the wall, and that sound, that sonic sound, that identity is still
distinct.
Like, yeah. And I'll go to clubs, and every now and then they'll break out a Michael Jackson record. You know what I mean? He had his own identity.
And everyone loves it still.
Yeah, it's his own sound. So now we're gonna flip it to Lucid Dreams. Can you give us a rundown on that song before we play it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Lucid Dreams is actually the very first track of my first EP as Jah Frida, all jokes aside. And that actually was the very first song that started the whole project. I basically had planned to make a track a day within a week. And so I did that, but only 5 tracks made the cut. And so this is kind of the one that started the whole everything for me and kind of where I'm at today. And I really wanted that track to feel like a lucid dream. So that's really what I'm trying to capture with that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, here we go on Deeper Than Music Radio with special guest Jah Frida, Lucid Dreams.
Somewhere else to call home.
That was Jah Frida, Lucid Dreams, here on Deeper Than Music Radio. I like that. That song is very fluid, very fluid.
Thanks, man.
So have you guys, your live shows, do you guys have like live instrumentation?
Yeah. So we, for the longest time, we probably did like maybe like 4 or 5 performances, but it was all live. And so it would be like me, Common Prophets, this guy I was in the Bums with, Brandon Ellsworth, my brother Merk, drummer Max Laidler, all of us. And so what we would do is try and replicate these tracks that would be like trap per se or whatever, but do a live kind of performance to it. And it ended up being really fun. Like they wouldn't always sound like the recorded tracks, but the feeling was there and the energy was great. And like we all had a microphone, so there'd just be 4 of us, ganging up on some like vocal backtracks while like the main person is up there. It was just a really good time. We haven't performed in a while though, just because we've been working on music, and my brother moved to Atlanta, and Marco Brando, he moved up to Indiana, so we've kind of just been finishing up these projects before we can really start up even thinking about performing. But yeah, man.
And were you just out of curiosity, were you doing music in Dallas or performing in Dallas or part of the hip hop?
Kind of. Dallas is so big, and like,
it is.
Yeah, like by the time when I was there, I was in school, but I was also kind of like figuring out my path and kind of how I wanted to go about it. And so I was still with the same people, like I've been naming off. And we were they were doing more hip hop, and I was honestly doing like a little more like indie psychedelic rock kind of thing with hip hop influence. Yeah. But as soon as I moved out here, it's funny, I just like hip hop was the one thing I wasn't really finding, so I like really missed it, and then it ended up just being the thing that really stuck. But I did like maybe like 1 solo show and then another show with the Bums, the band I previously mentioned, and that was it. I did like just kind of like freelance stuff. Someone asked me to play bass or like keys or backup guitar or whatever it would be, and I'll just kind of like play around. But it's funny, now I go back and I see the communities that I would be a part of in Dallas, and they're really doing some great things, and it's cool to see a lot of people come up out of there, like Asian Doll, even Post Malone. He's from DFW area.
From Grapevine. Yeah.
Tay Money, she's awesome. But yeah, it's really, so it's cool. But that's the other thing, is Dallas has a lot of like neo soul jazz, and that's not something.
Like some of the soul Aquarians there. And for the longest, man, I assumed that Erykah Badu was from the East Coast, and it wasn't until I moved here, or no, actually that video, and she was in Dallas, and they're like, Erykah Badu's in Dallas, and you're right, they do have I will say this about Dallas, the one, because I moved here from DC like 5 years ago, and the live musicians, a lot of live bands here, and you're right, like a lot of neo soul and jazz, something that I appreciate out here, which outside of not being from Dallas, you never think. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
totally. I mean, that's what's funny about Dallas. It's like you think it's because it's in Texas, it's some Southern, which it is, but it's really progressive. And that's the fun thing about Nashville too. Before I even moved out here, I had my like preconceived idea of like how it was going to be, but it's way more progressive than I thought it would be. And like, it's just, it opens your mind and just makes me realize, like, no matter where I think now, because I never thought I'd be living in Nashville, Tennessee, but here I am,
Yeah. Never say never, man. Always keep it open. So now we have your song Transformation. Can you give us a rundown on Transformation?
Yeah, Transformation was a track. I did a challenge with everyone on the label. It was to make, everyone had a prerequisite for what to do. Someone would be like, only use instruments, and someone would be like, use vocals because you only produce, or like whatever it was. And mine was just to basically, I fly through these tracks. It was like just to hone in on the lyrics a little more. And at the time we were talking about moving to Los Angeles because we felt very stuck and thought that was more so the move. And so that song's kind of about the growth of that and like, you know, changing yourself to fit into something or people telling you whatever, but you know, really it's just growing at your own pace. So that's kind of what that's about.
Okay. All right, here we go. Jah Frida representing Nashville and the DF Dub Transformation here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Transformation never made sense to me, no sense to me, but it keeps happening. Evolution presses its weight on me, but weight can be the drive that I need. Forced to change for the better, whether or not it's desired, it's gonna happen either way. Might as well embrace a new name. A sunny city where the sky's bright and the air is thick. What more can a man wish for than to be shaped for the greater and to be pulled by the lesser? People always say it's not the time, but when will my skin grow bright? People always tell me growth is hard, but that won't stop my fresh start. Transformation never made sense to me, no sense to me, but it keeps happening. Evolution presses its weight on me, but weight can be the drive that I need. There's no need for the drama, mama don't smoke marijuana, you're better off in a way. Let loose and just make a damn shine. No matter what, it's the vision, can never lose what was missing. That's why you gotta go in, regardless of the consequence. People always say it's not the time, but when will my skin grow bright? People always tell me growth is hard, but that won't stop my fresh start.
Transformation, Jah Frida, Deeper Than Music Radio. I'm gonna say, man, keep doing your thing, man. I love the sound, I love the soulfulness. Keep doing it, man. You got your own sound. I'm like, man, when I think of you, what you guys bring to the table, I'm thinking Pharrell, Timbaland, you know, the trendsetters, man.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
I love the musicality. Like even when you talk, like, hey, I put space in this and that. So not only are you a songwriter, you also perform and you also create. So I mean that right there in itself, and it's not cookie cutter, you know what I mean? There's musicality, there's transitions, you know, there's a method behind the madness. So we got 4 minutes left on this interview. One question I want to ask, man, what does music mean to you?
Music to me, music is just a form of expression. Whether it be lighthearted and fun, whether it be heavy, emotional, and resonant, it's just, there's really no right or wrong way to do it. And this is what you like and what you don't like. And it was just funny that we brought up the movement right now and what's going on in the radio. And it's like, you know, at first I wasn't into it, but now I'm like, I'm loving it. And it's just because I understand it. And it's just like, if you can understand the person, you can understand the music, or vice versa. And I don't know, I love it. I really do. I just see it as an art form.
And then now is shameless promotion time. So like people hear this interview and be like, yo, where can I find the music? Where can I find out about Jah Frida, the label, the movement? Shameless promotion time.
Cool. You can find me, Jah Frida, JAH Frida, FRIDA, at Instagram, at Jah.Frida. You can find me on Twitter at Blind Frida. You can find all of our labels' music at it'slikethatrecords.com. Shouts out 11. Shouts out Call My Prophets. Shouts out Andre on Purpose. Shouts out Marco Brando and Merc. These are the people I work with. These are the people I'm growing with. And all of our music is very different. I'm just a color in the spectrum. So definitely check out our website. You can find all of us on there. And also, I do some videography. That's something new. We put out 2 official music videos for Andre on Purpose, ENDRE on Purpose. Find us on YouTube, and you'll get a totally different flavor. I'll tell you, it's fun.
And what do you have out now, out in the future? Any upcoming shows that people can look forward to?
No shows currently, but right now, I just dropped 3 tracks on SoundCloud and YouTube. Just do Jah Frida. I have my EP, 5-track EP on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Google Play, the whole 9. And I have an upcoming project with Call My Prophets, executively producing, coming out sometime soon in the early next year. Very, very excited for it. Worked very hard for it. And I really hope people love it. And also one more project coming up with It's Like That Records, under It's Like That. Working on that currently, so it's something new, man. I'm really excited to see where it all goes.
You're a busy man, like a whole bunch of good music coming out. Jah, thank you for coming out. Like I said, we'll have your songs added to our rotation, our music segment. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Jah Frida, Nashville, and you know where to peep them out. So, hey, man, thanks for being on the show. And this is Furious and Jah signing off here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
In my mind, find a time to relax, kick back as this track plays. Yesterday seemed miles away, could've stayed. Had to gather my things, catch the train of thought, spark the vision. Better living, given a chance, enhance this dream, make it seem true indeed. Leave a waste of space so I can chase venues, talk to you through tunes, room back, see the sack, rap about how it went down. Found music to get through, soothe these, release, be at peace, manifest words, deferred pain.